The haunting echoes. Detective John Lancaster had seen it all in his long and storied career. But nothing could have prepared him for the case that would test the limits of his detective skills and shape the foundations of his beliefs. It all began on a stormy night in the small, isolated town of Ravenswood. Eleanor Sinclair, the heiress to a vast fortune, had disappeared without a trace. The Sinclair estate was a sprawling mansion rumored to be haunted by the ghosts of past generations, and its labyrinthine corridors held secrets that had been buried for centuries. The night of Eleanor's disappearance, a torrential downpour had struck the town. Detective Lancaster arrived at the Sinclair estate, a foreboding structure that loomed ominously in the pouring rain. He was met by the housekeeper, Miss Thorne, who was visibly shaken. She was in her room one moment, and the next, she was gone, Detective, Miss Thorne explained, her voice trembling. I heard her scream, but when I reached her room, there was nothing but an open window. The detective's investigation began with a thorough search of the mansion, but no clues were found. The only strange detail was a faint, eerie humming sound that seemed to emanate from the walls of the mansion. As Lancaster explored the house, he could swear he heard whispers and laughter echoing through the empty rooms, even when he was alone. Lancaster delved deeper into the history of the Sinclair family and discovered that the mansion had a dark past. Generations of Sinclairs had lived in the mansion, and many had met mysterious and untimely deaths. Some believed that the house was cursed, while others thought it was the work of vengeful spirits seeking retribution. The detective began to suspect that Eleanor's disappearance was linked to the mansion's sinister history. He found a hidden room in the basement, filled with old diaries and letters that detailed the family's sordid past. It was a chilling revelation that connected the missing heiress to a secret society that had thrived within the mansion's walls for centuries. Lancaster discovered that the Sinclair family had been practicing bizarre and otherworldly rituals, summoning forces beyond human comprehension. The diaries contained references to a powerful entity known as the Shadow of Ravenswood, a being said to have been bound to the mansion centuries ago. The detective began to experience strange and terrifying phenomena. Shadows moved independently, and the mansion's walls whispered secrets. He could hear Eleanor's voice calling out to him from the depths of the house. The line between reality and the supernatural began to blur. Desperate to find Eleanor, Detective Lancaster delved deeper into the forbidden rituals and the malevolent force that dwelled within the mansion. He enlisted the help of a local historian, Dr. Abigail Miller, who had dedicated her life to unraveling the mysteries of Ravenswood. As they delved further into the history of the mansion, they uncovered a hidden chamber filled with occult symbols and a portal to another world. They believed that Eleanor had been taken by the very entity that the Sinclair family had once summoned. In a heart-pounding climax, Detective Lancaster and Dr. Miller confronted the malevolent force in a battle that spanned the boundaries of reality and the supernatural. The mansion itself seemed to come alive, with walls shifting and spirits rising. As Detective Lancaster and Dr. Miller fought to confront the malevolent force within the mansion, they unearthed the sinister truth that lay at the heart of the Sinclair family's dark legacy. The entity known as the Shadow of Ravenswood had been trapped within the mansion by an ancient binding spell, woven by the Sinclairs themselves to protect their family from its vengeful wrath. Eleanor, the heiress, had inadvertently triggered a release of the entity during one of her explorations within the house. This released force had seized her, and now she was both its captor and its prisoner, trapped in a parallel realm. In a daring move, Detective Lancaster, guided by the knowledge they had uncovered, embarked on a perilous journey through the portal to confront the entity and save Eleanor. Dr. Miller stayed behind to keep the portal open and support him from the other side. Upon crossing into the parallel realm, Detective Lancaster found himself in a nightmarish landscape filled with shifting shadows, ethereal whispers, and surreal, distorted versions of the mansion's rooms. Eleanor's voice echoed through the dark corridors, leading him deeper into the twisted reality. The malevolent force, now free, manifested as a towering, amorphous mass of darkness and despair. It seemed to be composed of the sins and darkness of generations of Sinclairs. It lashed out at Lancaster with unseen tendrils of energy, attempting to drag him into its chaotic abyss. Detective Lancaster, armed only with his wits and the knowledge he had acquired, engaged in a battle of wills with the entity. As he confronted the entity, he discovered that the key to its defeat lay in understanding and breaking the cycle of the Sinclair family's dark deeds. He had to release the entity from its centuries-old grudge and bring it to a place of peace. With his determination and newfound insight, Detective Lancaster uncovered the entity's tragic backstory. It had been bound by the sins of the past, unable to find release or redemption. In a poignant moment, he made a pact with the entity, promising to help it find peace and closure. As Detective Lancaster and the entity reached an understanding, the malevolent force slowly dissipated, its darkness giving way to a blinding light. Eleanor was released from its grasp, and the entity, finally free, ascended into the unknown. With Eleanor safe and the malevolent force no longer a threat, Detective Lancaster and Dr. Miller made their way back through the portal to the mansion. The haunting echoes and paranormal phenomena ceased, and the Sinclair mansion was once again a place of eerie quiet. Eleanor was reunited with her grateful family, and the secrets of the Sinclair mansion, along with the malevolent force, were left in the annals of history. Detective Lancaster and Dr. Miller had prevailed against the darkness that had plagued Ravenswood for centuries. As the town slowly returned to normalcy, Detective Lancaster knew that he had faced a case unlike any other in his career. The experience had changed him, and he realized that sometimes, in the darkest of places, one could find not only the malevolent but also the opportunity for redemption and release. The haunting echoes would forever be etched in his memory as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of the supernatural and the mysteries that lurked in the shadows.